My name is Kenisha. I'm a senior at Parkfield High School. My topic is breaking the cycle of poverty and discrimination. Okay, now I want to aware everyone in this room right now, what if you're the next victim? Wait, what? Victim? Victim of what? Why? And how am I the victim? Questions like that must be popping in your mind right now. Just like take a few seconds to think about it. By victim, I meant victim of discrimination, victim of poverty. The people sitting right next to you or you can be different from someone else's perspective, but does that mean they should be discriminated against? Living in poverty. Such a huge number. Most of them are minorities with the highest rate amongst being Native Americans. Now let's go to discrimination. According to Merriam-Webster again, discrimination is the practice of unfairly treating a person or group differently from other people or groups of people. It basically means people are treated differently because of who they are or what they believe. According to Bates, and a new survey of 2017, 92% of African Americans are facing discrimination. So 71% Black and 61% of Hispanic says there is a lot of discrimination only because of who they are. How are poverty and discrimination linked? Do you think there is a significant relationship between poverty and discrimination? Well, there is. They are very, very much linked together. One induces the other. Discrimination influences poverty, and poverty isolates some people and imposes a social stigma on them, which later results as a discrimination. In short, by Huffington Post, discrimination affects global poverty by breeding an environment of inequality that limits one's access to fundamental rights and basic needs. As a result, people worldwide struggle to live an earnest life, an earnest living under the factors without their control, and they have no control over. So that's how poverty and discrimination are linked. One directly affects the other. This is a chart. As you can clearly see here, lack of access to services and decision-making leads to poor education. When there is poor education, they're not gonna have good employment. They're not gonna be as equal to the other people that do not face discrimination, and that leads to poverty. And then when people are in poor condition, that again leads to discrimination. For example, in Burma, widespread discrimination against minority groups such as Muslims has influenced the way in which that specific group lives. Denied rights to citizenship restricts their access to employment and fundamental rights. How does poverty impact education? Education, it is a very big factor. We really need it to develop ourselves, our status, and our nation as well. But poor nutrition and health influences how children learn. When people can't get like a basic food or their regular meal, how are they going to focus on education? How are they going to go to school and learn something? Students who live in poverty-stricken families encounter many situations that can seriously affect them mentally, socially, and physically as well. The children who come from homes wanting food and shelters do not enter school or are very less entering school. According to NSEC, in 40 of the 50 states, low-income students comprised no less than 40% of all public school children. In 21 states, children eligible for free reduced lunch were the majority, according to Slate. That basically means when the people get free lunch, reduced meals, or basic rights, they go to school. But when they don't, they lack the opportunity, a very good opportunity to go learn something. While people are facing economic barriers, it is obvious that they would worry less about their education and then focus on how to live and how to survive. Countries that have a higher rates of poverty have a lower chance of development. See this picture, it says how poverty feels to children, how it actually feels. When people are poor, when they don't get food time to time, they feel worried and they get bullied and they will be hopeless and they cannot perform to their full potential. That really affects them in a long term. Now let's go to how does poverty impact the economy? There is a lower chance of development when there is a higher rate of poverty. It affects a nation's economy by diverting government revenue towards the poorer and less advantageous segments such as welfare programs. Last year, Barack Obama donated millions of dollars to solve the issue of poverty. But still poverty is increasing. The money is just leaving our country, where it's just going somewhere and people are not actually getting what they deserve. Also, poor cannot afford to buy as many goods as people with good income can. That reduces the aggregate demand of our country. It leads to crime as well. When people are in poverty and when someone is really hungry and they don't have $1 in their pocket, they would definitely think about stealing some goods from some store or somewhere that's gonna affect the crime rates and increase it. That later on we have to spend more money on prisons as well. Look at this diagram. And the vertical axis, it's percentage of persons in poverty, and this is as you can clearly see here, African American are in the highest rate of poverty, and then Latino, and then Asian, and then white. How does discrimination impact education? Any experiences of discrimination can affect people negatively, and academic trajectories and limit the emotional benefits. In this picture, it says black students are punished more harshly and more frequently than white students for the same offense. We all know it is bitter but really true. When people get discriminated in school while they are there to learn something, they will feel discouraged to learn, and they will teach the same thing to their younger sister, brother, and everyone that's associated with them. Although, to back up this one, I have one fact. Although black students made only 18% of those enrolled in the school's sample, they counted for 35% of those suspended once, 46% of those suspended more than once, and 39% of all expulsions, according to the civil rights data collections, statistics from 72,000 schools in 7,000 districts, serving about 85% of a nation's student, from kindergarten to high school. Now let's talk about how does discrimination against the poor impact the economy. Discrimination isn't just an insult to our most basic notions of fairness. it affects the nations globally as well. It costs us money. Because those who are discriminated against, who they are, what they believe, their race, their gender, their status, and many other factors, they cannot perform to their full potential. They cannot focus on somewhere. Also, when people don't get equally as the other people who's same, who's like equally qualified, they will definitely feel discouraged. They do not want to come there again. They cannot perform. Countries or companies that discriminate against people based on gender, ethnicity, nation, sexual orientation, or any other characteristics cannot perform to their full potential. It's bad for business. Such discrimination is just not immoral, but economically harmful. With access to talent becoming increasingly scarce, the way a country uses its talents determines its economic performance. When there's a lot of people who are from different countries, they're gonna have they're gonna have so many different thoughts. Like if you're from different country, they definitely learned something new other than the people who are in a different country. So we can have a diverse group of people. This is the one more picture of how poverty and discrimination are linked. Like in the beginning, you sure have a little clearer view on how they are linked. So back to my prompt, that there is a significant relationship between poverty and discrimination. Poverty induces discrimination. If someone is poor, people's perspective towards them automatically change, which leads poor to become poorer with few opportunities and a lot of barriers. Like that, discrimination also induces poverty. When people are discriminated against, they lose their self-confidence and they feel left out. When they feel left out, they cannot perform nicely and don't get what they deserve, which makes it more worse. My proposal. Solving hunger is my proposal. We all are basically at risk, and we must work to end this. Education is a big factor to help people get out of this issue. It gives people knowledge and skills they need to better their lives. It counts because it eradicates poverty and discrimination. But wait, how are they going to school when their first priority is food? When they are hungry, how are they going to go and learn something when they can't even walk, or when they can't even pay attention? So there comes my proposal. The only way we can eradicate poverty is by feeding people. If we feed them, they will be healthy and can actually attend school and be on school. They can pursue their education, which in long term helps ourselves, their status, to uplift our economy and education as well. So for my method, since I was born in Nepal, I know how people are there. A lot of people are facing discrimination and poverty as a result of each other. So I'm gonna go there. It's gonna be a little easier for me to collect data. So I would go there to my school, and with the help of my teachers and some qualified people, I'm gonna collect data on how many people are in poverty right now, and then how can we solve that issue. And then right after that, I'm gonna partnership with Red Cross Society and set up a food bank where people can actually get fed. Then they can go to school and stay focused there. I'm forced to conclude that poverty is just expanding day by day, and the poor are significantly straight targets of discrimination and frequently viewed with contempt for circumstances beyond their personal control. This is majorly affecting us, our economy, and education. So you, and only you, can make a difference. And if we work together and step forward, we can make a change to to the thousands and millions, millions of lives of people, and actually help to get them what they deserve. Thank you so much.